Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Partner Spotlight podcast with Kynection. I am your host, Phil De Cruz, and today I do have a very special one. Lovely people that, I don't know, we've been a partner for a while, but it's been like the last maybe year and a half we've really connected and become buddies. Really, I was on a dinner that went for 4 hours and we had a fake Baileys, but it was all right. It was Baileys. It was paid by Prospend on their lovely card. So I was very, very grateful. But thank you for joining us, Phil and Maz. We probably don't need a massive introduction because Phil, you're known all over the world. You've got following lists everywhere on Instagram. And Maz, you're just piggybacking on Phil's success, which is awesome. No, I'm just joking, but it's been perfect. But Phil, welcome. Tell me a little bit about yourself, your journey, what got you to Prospend, what you were doing prior, what made the biggest change.
Hey Phil, thanks for having me on, and thanks for the intro as well. A bit about me. So I've been at Prospend for about 12 years. Wow. Prospend was expense manager way back in the day when I joined, and it was a proper startup. So I was literally the very first employee way back when. I actually started in support and implementations. I think when I joined, we had 6 clients at the time. As a part of our growth, I've been fortunate enough to move around in so many different roles in the organization. So I started in support, jumped to implementation, went over into sales, into partnerships, and I'm now director of sales and partnerships. I think Prospend has really transformed over that time. We've gone from 6 clients way back in 2014 when I joined to well over 1,000 sites now today. So it's been a journey.
What an origin story, mate. You are one of the veterans there, mate. So look out, Sharon. You're going to get taken over by Phil. But that's good to see. Good to see. Maz, please, what brings you to the Prospend life as well?
Look, my background has been accounting and payroll since I left school, really. Did an accounting degree. Never went into public practice because I just didn't feel like I was, dare I say that word, to be an accountant. So I needed to be out with the people. I wanted to be with the people. But look, I had my own business in New Zealand for 10 years in the accounting ERP space, as I said, for my whole career. Brought me to Prospend was I've been in the space working with somebody else as a smaller card provider. I joined Prospend. They look more around the entry-level products that they integrate into, like QuickBooks, your MyObs. The ERP space was really where I wanted to get back into. And the reason for that was I think of the clients that I had back in New Zealand, the over 120 clients. And I think of the frustrations and the challenges that they had around expense management, even myself, own business, the challenges that I had. I think that product streamlines not just the finance team, but it just provides a solution for a whole company, whether it is expense management or whether it is AP. But let's face it, every business has expenses that they need to pay. So I really love this space because I think it definitely provides value for, as I say, not just finance teams, but it engages everybody within the organisation. Love it.
Beautiful. A true pioneer. Excellent. Thank you, Matt.
I don't look 70, do I?
No.
Not at all.
Happy 16th birthday for the last week. Beautiful. Let's kick off some questions. All right, this is the juiciest part. Now, just for the viewers that know, Prospend have never seen these questions, so we're going to get that raw material as we all like. Let's start off with this one. Okay, so Kynection LZ, we use this term called dangerous and dirty. Anything high vis, kind of hands dirty, blue collar environment, that's us. Now, how does Prospend tailor its offering differently from what I'll assume a lot of your client base is in professional services and retail and aged care. How do you tailor for dangerous and dirty sectors? Who wants to take that one first? Phil, let's go.
Yeah, I'll take that one. So Prospend, I'll give a quick intro about what we do, and then we do it different sectors. So Prospend at its core is an expense and invoice automation platform. So we're really all about managing really all the money that leaves a business. So we're talking about expenses, we're talking about accounts payable, invoices, corporate credit cards, purchase orders, really anywhere that is really exiting the business is what we're here to manage. And even though that's quite agnostic, if it doesn't matter if you're in retail, you're a not-for-profit, you're in construction, everyone has expense and invoices at the end of the day, but people will manage it in a very different way. Like if a white collar worker and I work with a not-for-profit, they might be at their desk creating purchase orders from 9 to 5. But if we're talking about like this and dirty sector, like construction, they might be in a mine. And they get their desk maybe once every 2 or 3 months. So they want to do everything from the phone. So someone in a like construction or heavy industry, they could jump on the Prospend app on their phone or on an iPad, raise all their purchase orders, approve all the expenses fully remotely. So that's really how what we're doing based on the industry. It's not so much about changing what they're doing, it's changing how they go about it.
And making it more efficient. I guess that's the there alone of having it on your personal device instead of opening up a laptop is key, and everything is done on a mobile these days. So
yeah, absolutely
lovely that Prospend.
I think also just on that too, when you're talking about construction and put it dangerous and dirty, they don't necessarily resonate with do I have to put this to? Where do I need to cost that to? So all that in Prospend is all set up. So all they're doing, it makes it really easy for them. They don't have to understand the accounting and the background and filling out the spreadsheet where they need to put things. So yeah, it works well in that industries.
Yeah, it follows that same motto. It designed the platform on a mobile application first, then adapted to the larger desktop screen, because these truck drivers, these construction workers, they just want to work. So the more automation, the fewer fields, the less tabs they have to click on a phone, the better it is. So if it's just there, yes or no, green and red, that's all they really care about. And I'm glad that you guys are following suit. Fat finger friendly buttons, another requirement. Fat finger friendly buttons. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's do another question. I've got a list and I'd like to see which ones would be better. All right.
This is really putting us on the spot, isn't it?
All right. So this one's an interesting one. So when building sustainable partner ecosystems with software vendors like Kynection, like ERPs, like MYB, Acumatica, and Sage, and hosting providers like AWS and so on, what the partner relationship with Prospend succeed? Like, what do you do? Yeah.
Phil, I'm going to let you answer that one. And the reason I'm going to answer you first, but I'll make a comment at the end. And that is one of the things that really brought me and resonated me to Prospend and wanting to join Prospend, and Phil knows this, is partner relationships that they already had, right? The trust that Prospend has built with these partners we work with is just phenomenal. And to be able to see the amount of referrals that they still give us today, and you got to think, like, some of these partners have been with Prospend for years, 7 years, 8 years, and teams of people have moved on and new staff have come on board, but they are still supporting Prospend because of the relationships that have been formed from before. And I think that speaks volumes in itself. The reason that they are still partners of Prospend is because of that trust in knowing that we're going to look after their clients, we're going to provide them with a solution that is going to provide them with value. So don't hesitate in actually referring a client to us thinking that we might do the wrong thing. We're always looking after the client and the partner.
The trust is established, and it takes time to build that trust. Phil,
yeah, look, I think partnerships is very similar to sales. I think there's so much crossover. Sales is all people from people at the end of the day, and people buy from people who they trust. And I think that's even more so when it comes to partnerships. Like, we partner with like-minded companies. We want to partner with companies who have the front of mind, who are going to do the right thing when no one's looking, and want to partner with organizations in eyes to us as well. Like, we partner with companies who keep the customer at the forefront of everything they do. I think what I always use partners is there to win every deal, and I think that's incredibly important. Like, there's no point us trying to get a deal over the line where we can't fulfill it. I'm sure Kynection is much the same. I think no one has a good experience in that scenario. Walks away unhappy, churn in the first 12 months, and the partner's upset as well because they've now got to go out to market to find another ISV or another solution for their client. So I think it's about really trust and transparency more than anything else.
No, exactly right. And we're starting to build that community. That's what it is. The VARs, the ISVs, MYBs, the Sage, we need a community. And I think the partnership is core of that community. Great answer, guys. Answer. Righty.
I'll just say, sorry, on that. I think if you look, and you can cut this out if it's not right, but I think if you look at what MYOB did with partners and deciding to go direct, and they're just one example, there are many, right, where they decided to go direct, and then they realized that that's not how it's not going to work that way, and now they're going back to their partners. And because I think it's very, very true. Like, I've been in a situation where, it's bought out by the Access Group, the UK, they decided to want to be in Australia. Their biggest challenge was going to be the trust that the partners had, because we are the partner-based business, only partner-based, and the trust that their clients had with them was phenomenal. So for them to move away from a consultant that they've had for 10 or 15 years to somebody who they don't know and they know doesn't know their business was really, really difficult. And I'm sure they had many over the years. So I think that complement the business, the business knowing that they're going to provide their clients with a solution that's going to work. They're not going to put forward something that they don't think the client's going to get any benefit from.
Oh, we would hope so.
Yeah, I think partnership is really important.
Absolutely. This is an interesting one. And we come across this all the time, but it'd be very interesting to see how Prospend deals with it. So strategies overcoming organizations that are very resistant to change. And this is from the worker on the field that's been using paper for all his life, and now you have to adopt technology, to the guy in the office that's had everything in their head and now have to trust so take it away, team.
Yeah, look, I think the thing that always gets me is like the problems that we were solving 10 years ago are still the same problems that we're solving today. Like, I'm sometimes, by the size of the companies who come to us, they book a demo, and a big part of that is discovery. And we talk about, what your current process look like. And I've been forward where it could be a huge multinational organization, they're ASX listed, they've got, 1,000 employees. And we talk about, well, your process look like today, and it's completely manual or paper driven. So not just the management from the user, it's changement of the managers, it's a change management for the finance and the exec team. Like, that goes right through. I think a big part of it is driven by efficiency. Clients come through, we talk about their problem, and we want to solve it, and we want to get more efficiency. And I think there is a misconception with what that means. I think for some companies, efficiency can be seen like a fancy word for speed, but I think that's probably just a small part of it. Like, efficiency about increasing visibility, it's about the compliance, and it's about transforming manual processes that can now scale. And so really taking them on that journey, and I'm sure you would find it much the same in your world, Phil, as well, where we've got a lift operator with it's easy to have someone stand up the top and just shout down to them every 5 minutes, but when you've now got 1,000 people, like, it's transforming this at scale. So I think it's about really taking them on that journey, and it's got to be right through. It's not just for the end user; it's across the board, right up to management level.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think also from a perspective, it's making sure that when you have the opportunity to talk to organisations, that you've got the right people in the meeting or in the room. So it's not just necessarily always going to be the owner of the business or the CFO. Sometimes can be a huge benefit to have somebody who's going to be using, or you want them using, the product or the system, having there as well. So management understands what their frustrations are, and they understand what the management's frustrations are, and not eating the elephant all at once, as they say. It's taking one bite at a time. And I think what Prospend does really well is that our expense management solution that we offer businesses can be for 10 cards, 10 users who start off really small and see the benefits in it, and they move on and they add more cards or they add more users, and then they go, oh, hang on a minute, you do AP as well, so they'll add on the AP. So it really is just eating that elephant one chunk at a time and identifying where their challenges most are, addressing those, and then moving forward from there.
Yeah, great. Yeah, absolutely.
Just adding on as well, I think probably one of the most important things when it comes to strategies is not starting with the technology, it's starting with the problem. I think as an organization, I think before you even bring technology into it, you've really got to understand the problem because how it's going to sell it to the organization. And across the board, like it's experience for the end user. It's not just the finance team. So for us, like yes, have this huge benefit of and the automation, but it's communicating that to the end user. Like moving forward, they don't need to their receipts, or they don't need to fill out a manual form. They're going to use the app, capture the as they go along, and it's about really making it transparent that it's making their life easier as well. It's not really more work, but taking work away.
No, that's exactly right. Yeah, it's work away. It's the time sink that you're trying to save. With this the same approach. It's chunks of getting certain areas in the organization fixed. Either it's health and safety department, or it's the fleet management, or the HR department. It's trying to clean that. It's trying to turn off that leaky tap of where that time sink and money is going down the drain, and solving that issue, and then moving on to the next. So it's selling the whole hog. Trust me. So I do all of it every day. So on the back of that, can you highlight a customer success story that even recently had, and just give us a lovely problem solution conclusion of what Prospend did prior, before that Prospend and after? So if you could chuck in some metrics or financials, bonus points.
Yeah, that one. I'm actually in the middle of a case study with a client at the moment who's with us quite a few years ago now, probably like 4 or 5 years ago. And I often talk about clients coming from a manual process where it's normally fairly linear and repeatable. Like it has an expense claim, an invoice, or a purchase order. It's a manual form. They complete it, staple the receipts. Their manager signs it off, and the finance team keys it into the ERP. Like it's a fairly similar, repeatable process. But this particular client, I asked him, how do you manage your expenses today? And it wasn't a small organization. Like they had about 500 staff with corporate cards and expenses. It was manual, but it was so manual that the employee would print the expense form, manually complete it, staple the receipts, but they would then take all that to the post office, get an express post envelope, ship it to the manager who was in Perth, who would then start it off, stamp it, ship it to the finance team in Sydney to then manually key all that in. There was so many extra steps in that process. I think that the money they spent on postage literally paid for Prospend plus more. I think that the profit can be very different for organizations. So I think that was always one that stood out to me, and one that I'll probably always remember, because it wasn't then just digitizing their current process. It was all the time saved. It was all the visibility for the finance team. Like they got so many more benefits rather than just the time. There's so many soft benefits outside of that.
That is a very extreme scenario, and now Ozpost is very angry with Prospend of the money they've lost due to that implementation you've put in. But wow, good one. Thank you, mate. Is an interesting one. 5-year plan for Prospend. Where is the market going? Where are you guys going to be in 5 years? How you see it going?
Philip, that's your one. I'm going down there.
Yeah, look, I think
got the right man. Yeah,
it's a good question. It's a really good question for us.
Yeah, no, it's a great question, Phil. I had recruiting for quite a few roles. I actually had an interview with someone last week, and we were talking about, here for 12 years, and he said to me, we'll be here for 12 years. There's been so much change. Like I think that's probably one of the things that I've really thrived and really enjoyed. Like the spend of go 5 years ago, 12 months ago is completely different to the Prospend we're in today. Likewise, I think moving forward, I think will be dramatically different in months' time, let alone 5 years. Look, I think software business like yourself is evolving. Like we're looking at new modules, new products, new features. So I think there'll be a lot of exciting stuff coming out over the next 12 months. I think looking at regions. I think we'll be looking at expanding headcount as well. So I think in 5 years' time, it'll be a very exciting place to be.
Under that answer, that's good enough. That's really good. I like it.
It's very, very, and as Phil knows, as Phil knows, it's probably keeping me out of retirement at this point.
Yeah.
I've been retired a couple of years ago, but I keep saying to Phil, no, I think I'm going to be here till, give me a pension, whenever that is. So
Till 70.
Yeah, it really, really times, and I think the next 5 years, I think technology itself, happening in technology now, is exciting. That's another reason why I do want to give up work now with everything that's going on. When com days came out, and gosh, that's probably showing my age, but when the .com days came out, the internet was introduced, and everybody was going, "Oh my God, what's this going to do? We're all going to be out of work. What are the kids going to do at school?" Look where we are today with what we're doing today. Technology's given.
Yeah, exactly right. That's kind of the next question, which was, how is technology shaping Prospend today, and how will it drive the future? It's the same stuff. Kind of through it. So
yeah, sorry, I want to mention that those two letters, because I'm sick to death of hearing those two letters that
what they are,
and every turn now, that's all about. But ultimately, ask somebody what it is, they really don't know what it, not everyone, but it's making a lot of people nervous. And I think, talk to children, I'm to, teenage kids that are leaving school, my nieces who are leaving school, and I'm saying to them, even know what the jobs are going to be in another 5 years' time that AI is going to produce. We don't know. It's all evolving, and that's the exciting part about it. I suppose the challenging part is all those that are going to university to know what they should be doing, the biggest challenge. But I think technology itself, if it's doing for us here at Prospend anyway, and a lot of other software vendors I know, it is really exciting. And that's why you want to be around in this space. It's awesome. It's phenomenal.
A lot has changed in the last couple of years. I'll say that. All right, let's wrap up. One last question. It's a question that same with other people that have come on the podcast, but I'd love to get Prospend's on it. But what makes you unique, and how can you directly benefit our customers and Kynection? Now, there is a lot in that same space. You are unique in that space as you offer the other services around expense management, but do your little pitch on why unique compared to the other ones, which I won't share their names, of course.
That one. I thought what makes Prospend unique is we are probably one of the few players who do both expense and invoice automation in the one platform. It's quite often, with prospect, with partners, who are competitors. I think we have a lot of competitors on the AP product. I think we have a lot of competitors on the expense management side, but there's very few who do both. And I think that's key, and that's often what gets us over the line when we speak with prospects. I think Maz touched on it before, you have to tackle the entire problem in one go. I think it's, a client says, hey, that's a huge pain point. We've got 100 Amex corporate cards. It's a nightmare. They can tackle that first. And then when they're ready, take on accounts payable automation. In the future, they might then, things like, travel management, virtual cards, the whole range of other products that we offer as well. But they don't have to tackle everything in one go. But I think what, with that is the experience. We're speaking with prospects, they're coming from a completely manual process. So it's a very scary thought about, entire workflow, especially something like us, because, purchase orders, it's touching their workforce. It's something that's restricted to, 1,000 people in the finance team. It's potentially every employee they have out there. Is touching. So I think it's about, obviously getting it right the first time. And I think we've got the experience to do that. A new player in the market, we've been around for years now. And I tell prospects is, it be your first time putting an expense or invoice automation tool in, but it's not ours. We've done this over 1,000 times before. So there are so many things that you with that experience in terms of, what doesn't work, some recommended workflows that other companies in your industry, similar size to you, tend to use. So you really branch and that knowledge. And I think that's ultimately benefits our clients.
I think also, just to onto that a little bit, is because Prospend has been around for, I say we, but Prospend has been around for so long, and have all our onboarding teams here in just out there here in North Sydney, and they've been installing pros for various industries, right, for all these years. So they know what best practice is. So being able to share that, I think, is invaluable as well. Say to them, well, this is how somebody else has been setting it up in their organization. This is the reason why. These are the benefits that they've got out of it. So it's because when you think about it, the purchase orders, AP, the approval process of, what and for how much and all those sorts of things. It's really, some businesses don't even thought about that, like they don't know about that. And that's the sort of experience that we can provide them with, or the suggestions that we can provide them with, that are going to benefit their businesses. So I think, yes, being around for a long time, but being able to adopt best practice from onboarding and training our clients, I think is also a huge benefit to customers.
Well, it's the true definition of being a consultant. And that's what you guys are. You consult them on industry best practice. Curly question.
That's good, Phil.
So, this is just from my personal knowledge, but companies that issue hundreds of fuel cards as part of the onboarding, do you kind of do fuel card side of thing too with truck drivers?
Yeah, we can work with fuel cards. We can get a feed for a lot of fuel cards. But what we're seeing a lot of companies doing is transitioning to virtual cards. Like, that's incredibly popular because it can then be used for more than just fuel. Like, if we talk about those dirty industries or, color industries, they can use it for fuel, they can use it for accommodation, for emergency stops, for repairs. So it's then branching out to more than just fuel. But yes, like, we do have a lot of clients who have fuel cards because they get discounted rates on servos like Ampol. So yes, we do work with fuel cards. But I think virtual cards are now becoming incredibly popular. I think that's the new wave that we're seeing.
Yeah, that's really good insight, because a lot of our listeners are those truck drivers. They've got those cards. That's perfect. Yeah. Well, it has been a fantastic little podcast. Thank you very much, you two. And thank you for sharing the insights and having your time to spend with me and having a nice little hash out about Prospend and Kynection and all sorts of things of technology, which is great. Do you have any last words? Do you have a catchphrase, Phil, that you want to leave the audience with? I like to finish off with a little catchphrase. It could be just as simple as "I'll be back," or whatever you want to do. So
I'm surprised you didn't bring up the Trilogy of Trust in the session.
Look, and it is, they laugh at me here, so I will take over here a little bit. But they laugh at me here. I don't know how many times I've talked about it, but Mates is the Trilogy of Trust, which is a triangle. And triangle consists of Prospend, our partner, and the clients at the top. Trust in that triangle is phenomenal, and it's really important, and we can't break it. So, like that at a conference I did in Melbourne, actually at the Mornington Peninsula, many, many ago, where I had to sell a caravan to somebody who already had 3 caravans, and no one was allowed to go to lunch until I'd sold that caravan. Like, wow. It was the most, but it was a great sales process to go through. So yes, the trust is my big thing, and I live by it. I have lived by it ever since. So that's probably coming up 12 years now. But I also, Phil De Cruz, I just want to say a massive thank you to you. No, I haven't known you. I've only been here, 8 months. What you are trying to do within our community, or what Kynection is trying to do within the community of bringing people together, is phenomenal. And applaud you for it, because I think there's not enough people out there that are doing it. Competition is not a bad thing. It's a bloody good thing. And there's enough business out there for all of us. So I think to be able to share our learnings and learn from one another is important, and that's something that you do. So I just want to commend you on what you're doing. No, and I mean that. I mean it. Have listened to the other podcasts, and I think they're awesome. So thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity of allowing us to be able to share what Prospend does on your platform. Thank you.
Perfect sign off. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Maz. Have a lovely afternoon.
Thanks so much, Phil. Thanks for having us on.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you, mate.